after law school, you're continuing to educate yourself. Why is that?
Absolutely, because I want to be the best lawyer I can be. And these continuing legal education seminars, they teach you about the law, and they teach you how you can be a practical lawyer and how you can get clients, and that's very important.
And this is a seminar that focuses on DUI specifically. Is this a highly technical area of the law?
Absolutely. I mean, it's often said that DUI is more technical than a murder trial, and it's constantly changing. The law is constantly evolving, and I think it's very important that if you want to be the best you can be in the field and be with the preeminent DUI lawyers across the country, that you continually need to come to these seminars and learn from the best.
David, can you tell me a little bit about your practice?
Sure. We're located on the west coast of Florida and then kind of across the I-4 corridor into Orlando. We have 6 lawyers, we have 5 offices, and I used to be the former prosecutor of the year for the entire state of Florida. So when I left the state attorney's office and I spent a lot of time training new prosecutors, I segued into a defense career, and I spent a lot of time training defense attorneys. I lecture at the police academy. This is something that I live and breathe for every single day.
What motivates you to want to help people who have a DUI arrest?
What motivates me is I want to give them the best representation that money can buy. I think it's very important. There's a lot of people, especially with these tough economic times, that think they know DUI law, and I think that's very problematic for the person who knows nothing when they're involved in this situation. They get arrested, they may get solicited by people that really don't know DUI law. So continually training the attorneys and continuing staying up on the law is very important to try and get my clients the best possible result.
If I'm arrested for a DUI, as you say, economic times are tough, I might think maybe I should just plead guilty and get the whole thing over with. Is that a good idea?
Well, it's often said you don't need a lawyer to plead guilty. You can just go in there and take the ramifications and the penalties. The problem is you've never explored any possible legal defenses that you may have. If you go in there without a lawyer and you just plead guilty, you're at the disposal of the prosecutor and the judge to impose the appropriate sentence. And I think that's a very tough thing for an individual, because you may have legal defenses. There may be issues about the stop. There may be issues about the breath test. There may be issues about your field sobriety exercises. And I think if you don't explore those, you're doing yourself a disservice.
And it really takes a specialist like yourself, someone who's really knowledgeable about the area of DUI defense, to be able to look into that and offer up ideas for strategies.
Yeah, and I think that's very important, because when someone calls my office and they may think that they're guilty, or they may think that they have no defenses to explore, and oftentimes we can either challenge the stop or challenge the breath test, especially in our jurisdiction where there's been a lot of challenges to the intoxilizer. I think it's very important for people to understand that there's always a hole that you can poke, even if your breath test may be sky high. Did they observe you for 20 minutes? Stuff that we consider to be technical wins, are very important to my clients, especially if we can get the charge reduced to a reckless.
And what is an intoxilizer?
Intoxilizer is the breath machine that you blow into once you get arrested for DUI in my state. It's an Intoxilizer 8000, which has been absolutely an unbelievable amount of controversy locally, because we're challenging whether or not the manufacturer is going to provide the source code to us. So these are legal defenses. I mean, we represent over 300 individuals or motorists a year charged with DUI. So we do a lot of DUI, and we're very up to date on the law and the issues involving the intoxilizer.
What are some of the consequences that a person faces in Florida if they do plead guilty to a DUI?
Well, the legislature has created certain minimum mandatory sentencing. It can include a driver's license suspension. It can include possibility of jail time. It can include community service, ignition interlock device, depending on your breath test result. These are things that motorists need to understand, that there's no discretion. If you get convicted for a DUI or you plead guilty to a DUI, number one, it remains on your record for 95 years. And number two is the ramifications. There's no ability to seal or expunge a DUI in the state of Florida.
And I would assume that would have consequences also, like higher insurance premiums, job issues later on if my employer sees that I have a DUI conviction.
Right, because you can't seal or expunge a DUI, the long-term effect could be very detrimental. We deal with a lot of individuals, professionals that may be licensed in the state of Florida, and those ramifications of, with the Division of Professional and Business Regulations, teachers, doctors, lawyers, we've represented the spectrum of individuals who've been charged with DUI, and in many instances we've been able to get their charge reduced, which is very critical.
I imagine many people, especially DUI first offenders, are embarrassed and scared when they get an arrest. When they call your office, how are their cases handled?
We try and make the client feel as comfortable as possible. That initial phone call, it's very difficult for individuals to pick up the phone call. In our state, it's a very public thing. When you get arrested, excuse me, for DUI, your picture's on the sheriff's website. You're open to, a lot of people scrutinizing you, your potential employers, your friends. But that initial phone call, when you pick it up, we want to explain that situation to you. We want to lead you through this process and make you feel as comfortable as possible. Let us shoulder the burden. That's why my neck check is always stressful because that's my job on a daily basis to take the stress away from you and to let me handle the situation.
So that I, as the client, can go back to my life and do my job and be with my family, and you're going to take care of the legal side.
That's exactly what we want you to do. Our office will keep you out of court for as long as possible. We'll file the appropriate paperwork. We go to the DMV and get your permit for you. That's not something that we want our clients to be concerned about. Give us the ball and we'll run with it.
And will you keep me posted with all the developments in my case?
Absolutely. That's something that we're very, very big on. As a matter of fact, all of our websites have a track your case icon. You click on the button, you put your name in, you can see exactly what we're seeing, and we want our clients to feel what's going on in my case, because if I don't hear from my lawyer every day, I want to know when my court dates are, I want to know what's going on. We're very upfront. Anytime we get any document in our office, we send it out that day. We don't hold anything.
I like that. I've never heard of that track my case button. I'm an attorney, and I've never heard of that. That's great. And I would imagine as the client, I'd be more likely to click on that than to want to call you and bug you all the time.
Right, and sometimes people, when they hire you, you may call the lawyer to ask them a question, and then, you might have another question, and that question can be answered. If it's just a court date, do I have to be there? We followed up with letters, but for the client to feel that they're attached to their case, that's very important.
So when we talk about DUI, we're usually talking about alcohol, but drugs are also a big issue, aren't they?
It is a huge issue. We are seeing, especially in our state, a major problem with prescription medications. We just took a case to jury trial within the last 2 weeks where the individual was alleged to have been under the influence of what we call an 893, a controlled substance, and the video wasn't good, but the jury found him not guilty because it was our defense that this individual was overly prescribed the medication, and especially with our elderly clients in the area that we practice, a lot of these individuals, this is an involuntary intoxication defense, and I think that's very important. We're seeing more and more of these what we call drug DUI cases.
Congratulations on that victory. I'm sure your client was very pleased.
Ecstatic, to say the least.
And that must be a good feeling. Do you enjoy doing jury trials?
Absolutely, every day. I mean, when I'm in the courtroom, that is my thing. I absolutely love being in the courtroom. I love dealing with my clients. I mean, this job is my life.
Yeah, there's nothing like talking to a jury and looking right at them and ultimately getting a good result, right?
Clearly, when the clerk reads the verdict and you hear not guilty, that's just no better feeling in the world.
Bad day for the prosecutor, good day for you and your client.
That's right.
Now, if I am uncomfortable about going to trial and I don't want to go to trial, can you still help me?
Yeah, I always tell people when they call the office, the one thing that they're thinking about in their mind is the jury trial. You got to understand, a jury trial is the end of the road. There's issues that can be explored, there are motions that can be filed. Whether the client decides to go to jury trial, that's their decision at the end of the road. We'll be there to support them. I'm the co-pilot, they're the pilot. But jury trial is at the end of the road, and let's not put the cart before the horse. There's many times where we can explore legal issues without taking a case to a jury trial.
And there's ignition interlock devices, those breathalyzers that people are sometimes ordered to put on their cars. Are they ordered to put them on in Florida?
They are. Depending on what the facts are, if they have a breath test above a .15, what we call an enhanced DUI, that's minimum mandatory 6 months with the ignition interlock device. Sometimes the prosecutor can order it even if it's not a condition of the sentence or minimum mandatory. On second and third time DUIs, it's absolutely mandatory, yes.
All right, bottom line, if I have a DUI arrest and I'm taking a look at this video right now on a website, why should I pick up the phone and give you a call?
I don't think you'll find anybody that's more dedicated to defending their clients than our firm, David Haenel. There's no doubt.
All right, thank you so much.